Hello everybody, welcome back to Trash Comps. Today I bring you the Light and Dark team. So let's get into it. We're going to be using Zek as our main carry and then Reginald as our secondary carry as well as healer alongside the frog. But here I'm going through the perks. I have some bleed perks on Yogurt because I'm going to be trying out a bleed strat. I also opted for the Vitality gives him 8 health instead of 5 because I'm not running a lot of health on him in the first place, so hopefully that's enough to let him tank in the late game. Here I wanted to make sure we had enough shards to buy at least an okay deck. Reginald's going to need energy. He also needs the 3 speed so that he's faster than Zek because I do want him supporting Zek as much as possible. And we are also going to be applying as many sanctified charges as possible, so we're not going all in on the holy damage carry because we want to make sure that we're healing off of attacking. The frog is also going to be very supporty, though he does need to do speed manipulation, so he's got both the slow and the fast charges perks, as well as maximum heals, just like Reginald, and we have the bless and regen perks don't fall off, so that should be good for the frog. He's of course also got his sharp perk, so that sharp doesn't get purged unless it's specified. Zek, we had to take off a few resistances there, unfortunately. It's just going to be a little bit difficult. We have Fury, it increases his damage by 5% instead, and then also Sharp increases the shadow damage charges, which is going to be the main crux of the build. Gustav's going to be applying a lot of Sharp. We also have the Powerful perk, where we get 10% per powerful charge, and we have the Decay on enemies reduces shadow resistance by 8% per charge. So that should allow Zek to hit some fairly resistant enemies like Hanshek at the end of the game. We also have the Bless on this hero increases his damage by 1.5 instead of just the typical 1, but he doesn't get extra healing for it. So, we're getting into it and starting the deck building. Here, I don't have too much of a particular route in mind. I did re-roll so that I could get the upper path because I didn't want to go Straw Hat again. I felt like Straw Hat would be, I don't know, it's too good. Team absolutely could have done it though. I don't really have anything I need to do to not get Straw Hat. But I went for the hatch rope instead, which you get from the helping the farmers. It's the uncommon event up top. So we're just going to grab some Inspire for Yogurt, keeping his deck relatively cheap, but we want to increase or upgrade the Piercing Hells and the Sharps. Piercing Hells so he applies slow and vulnerable, and the Sharps so he can actually give it to Zek instead of just himself. Zek, we unfortunately don't have a ton of money to spend either, but we do grab some Malicious Eyes so that he can have some zero cost damage cards because those are pretty good with Sharp, and his deck is very expensive in the beginning, and it's going to be a while before we can make it cheaper. Gustav, we want to make sure he just has Sharp and a way to apply Powerful. And then Reginald, again, we're going to be getting Draw in the early game because he's going to be more of a support before he goes into his role as carry. He's actually very good at doing that, switching from a healing support into a mainline carry, though it can make his deck a little bit hard to manage. We're giving Gustav Wolfie because we plan to pick up Purple Wolfie, and Gustav's going to be going first most of the time. So Gustav should be able to slow down the entire enemy team by 2 and speed up the entire enemy or ally team by 2 anytime we want them. So that's the first thing. I don't know why I didn't play the chant right there. I guess I wasn't worried about the speed. Maybe I was thinking I was just going to kill the wolf. It wasn't that important. The wolf didn't really do much damage. But yeah, the Ode of War there is going to be very important. It's one of our few sources of powerful in the early game. Going down into the hatch with the rope event, we will be able to get a source of powerful and energy in our deck, which is pretty decent. We grab Pestilence in Zek's deck. It's a nice other bounce card. The bounce cards that do more damage on jump tend to be pretty nice. Getting a Curse of Vulnerability here early would be okay, but it being a 3-cost card, it's really hard to manage until Zek gets his cost-reducing passive at level 3. So we're going to be having to wait for that a little bit. We also have the Unstable Power in the early game because that plus Ode of War gives us the 7 Powerful, which is the maximum charges he can have, meaning he'll do 70% more damage if Gustav gets the Ode of War early. and we'll be trying to add more powerful sources as the game keeps going. Reginald's doing a decent job of keeping our team healthy, as is Gustav, and then Ylmer, with a little bit of meat support, can help as well. So we're getting some excellence early on, not too bad. We get a purple Malicious Eye, which I really am a fan of. I think that's nice. I grabbed the Blade Storm on Ylmer because I plan to make him deal more damage with bleed. We're also going to grab Ylmer's Cleaver on him. Again, we want to be... I have a certain thing where I'm going to try doing a double transfuse onto the Burning Blood, like I did the other video, and give him some, or give Zek some Fury. It's a little hard to pull off and a little hard to transition into. It works better, I think, if you have 2 scouts. At least that's how I've seen other people do it. So I've been practicing that a little bit. Here we get a purple tune-up. Purple tune-up's amazing because it gives you stanza 2 when you play it, meaning if you draw a tune-up on the first turn, you can already have stanza 2, and we'll be wanting that for Ballad of Conquest and some other really good songs later on. It allows us to basically play a Battle of Conquest first turn, which is fantastic. Some things that would have helped here early on would be having a sharp increase ring on Gustav. I didn't really have enough money to buy both Wolfie and some other stuff, so that's a way I could potentially optimize the build a little bit further. There's probably a few cards you could cut. You don't need the Pestilence in Zek's deck. I do also feel like these fights got a little bit tough straight away. Again, I did put on the the Empower perk, so I'm making it a little bit tougher on myself. I felt like we were doing fine though, so I was a little bit surprised to see us not doing well. Something else that might have been nice is keeping a slow charge on Zek if we had the chance, because Zek does have 3 curses. By curses, I mean he has 3. God, what is it called? I don't know. It's the slow curse. So we managed to kill the spider first turn. Curse of Exhaustion. That's exactly what it is. And here you can see we're doing a lot of damage. Dark packs do a lot of damage in the early game, and I feel pretty comfortable healing up. I accidentally kill the farmer and don't get to use the Black Death, which is one of Zek's best reasons for going Shadow Sharp, because it jumps and gains 40% damage every time it jumps, and it jumps 3 times, so it hits for a total of 4. Very, very good card. At least if he's going the Shadow Sharp damage. It's also not bad for Dark application because it applies Dark each time too. So honestly, it's just a really good carry card. Maybe the only place it's a little bit weak is if you're going for the Frost Zek, which I didn't want to go because we went Wet Lightning the other 2 times. Also, there we go. We just got the event where we sacrificed the pig. I wanted to fight the cultists here. Sorry, we're going over the pig sacrifice. So we sacrifice the pig so we get the Energize plus Powerful card in every hero's deck. We should be seeing those pop-ups every so often. Also, I opted for the fight rather than just auto-completing this because it gives us extra cards to choose from. And if we complete it fast enough, it should give us the same amount of experience too, I think. Because you get about 71 experience split across the team for everyone. Ideally, we would level up some characters at least before fighting Belfior, because he can be a little bit challenging. He is pretty resistant to Dark, and I'm not really dealing too much holy damage yet. Had to restart this fight too. 1, because Ylmer died. 2, because I need to do it a little bit faster, I felt like. I guess now is when I'll start to say it. This run was a bit cursed. I'm not the best with Zek generally. I mean, I used him for the Dark Explosion team, and it worked pretty well alongside Malaka and Navalia. I actually had a ton of fun with that team. It was wonderful. I also didn't want to do the Frost Zek, as I was just mentioning, because we'd just done like a Navalia who did Frost and Blunt damage, and then a Wilbur who did a Lightning and Frost Evelyn with Wet, and I just didn't want to go that route again. I felt like it was too soon. We had 2 videos with that recently. We do get the Excellent here, so we get a lot of experience. Yeah, everybody gets 29 across the board, so that's actually even more experience than you'd get otherwise. Still wasn't enough to level us up, unfortunately. Yeah, so that's my reasoning for not going the full Frost Zek. His level 4 perk, where he can transform his damage into frost, can be very good for that. And probably would have made this run a bit better in the later game, but especially if I had been using Evelyn instead of Reginald or something, or not just going the Shadow Sharp, but also the Frost Wet. But I had fun doing it this way, so I felt like it was a good thing to show. And yeah, like I said, we're not doing too much damage early on because they have a lot of shadow resistance. Other enemies would take a lot more. We did do a fair amount, but a turn 3 kill isn't the fastest on this guy, and we're very close to dying. Thankfully, Zek gets to go first yet again. We have 15 sharp and 3 bless on him, so he's doing some stuff, which is decent. And none of the stuff is falling off at the end of turn because of all the perks that we have. We don't really have a lot of fire resist, but we do manage to get the kill round 3, so we get that excellent rating. Nobody died, thankfully. I did have to repeat that fight once or twice. But I already just showed a few repeat fights. I'm going to try not to show too many more. There were a lot I had to do. Here, I needed some extra health on Yogur, I felt like. And I think I want the Horseshoe on Reginald rather than the Cloak of Evasion. Cloak of Evasion is very nice, but it's decent on Gustav because he doesn't really have a lot of health. We're getting Divine Retribution because I don't need the focus heal. I feel like with kind of 2 healers and a half healer, we're going to have enough for the rest of the game. Plus, we're not super tanky, so that is to say, we don't have a ton of health. So there's not that much to heal up in actuality. Where we do have a good amount of damage. And I just noticed my mic was a little bit close here. I'll put that down so it's hopefully a little quieter. Yeah, alright, that should be something. Just a little bit more. Sorry, I'm not talking about the fight. You know, you can see what's going on. This fight's a little bit challenging because the guy in back likes to go stealth and he likes to hunt the back target. I gave Zek some stealth because he really needs it. I unfortunately wasn't able to kill him with the random bounces. The Harpy also likes to attack the back, so because of that, Zek just dies here. I'm not too worried about it though, because we're going to get a campsite after this fight where we can get rid of some death stores. I was planning to use it to get rid of all the broken bones as well, but now I have to choose between that and death stores, so yeah. It's a little bit tough. Getting that purple Omen of Peril, I don't know if I mentioned that yet, but Gustav's been getting some really great cards for his build. No, that was on Reginald. Well, Gustav got the tune-up. Reginald got the Omen of Peril, so you reveal 3 healing spells from your draw pile and reduce it by 2 permanently for the cost of 0. So that can be used for cheapening some really high-cost spells that normally aren't that good, but are much better in the late game. So yeah, this fight was tough. Largely because we had 2 back snipers as well as this guy going champion and killing in stealth. We get a purple unstable power here for Zek. That's really nice. It draws a card as well as gives him powerful. So sort of a free use there. We also took the remove card perk for that fight, so that's one of the reasons I didn't really care too much. Excuse me. So we were able to remove all of our injuries and death stores. We're looking pretty good now. There's not going to be a Yogur boss fight because we have Yogur on our team. And yeah, with the double unstable powers, that can powerful himself up to 7, all by his lonesome. Once we get a more stable source of powerful for him, we won't have to worry about it as much. And thankfully, with the little bit of vision that the Omens, whatever, the 0 cost cards for Zek that they give, a little bit of vision has been helping us out in terms of where we need to place block. We don't have a ton of block on the team because we didn't build Yogur's deck that way. Slippers is a really nice get, so we have to allocate our block really nicely. Sorry, I'm jumping topics. I do want Yogur's Cleaver. Slippers is really nice for Gustav. It means he'll have 2 fast at the start of combat, so he should be able to outspeed pretty much everything now. Yeah, he's got the whole 24 speed at the start, so that outspeeds everything outside of like the fastest sort of gimmicky bosses like the Hydra or the Necromancer. But them going first isn't as huge of a deal because they're meant to go first. But all the ground fights, even the bunny is capped out at 24 speed, and he's the fastest basic champion enemy. So, it's pretty good. Yeah, we're at the maximum powerful 2, so the unstable power that is innate in our hand might become an issue later on. Could change it to be a draw effect instead, but we'll have to see how that goes. Ylmer here is a little bit of a tough fight as well, because he is fairly resistant to Shadow. And like, the more things I fought, the more I was like, man, the Dark team that used to be terrible was actually pretty decent at lowering all the resistances, because you're applying a ton of Dark, and they're popping at basically the lowest resistance that they have at 25 Dark. So we kept the Dryad alive because we needed to bounce around and do some damage that way. He healed up to full though, so that didn't really help too much. We do get the Ode of War, so more powerful on Zek. Every turn we can have that is really nice. The Soul something that Zek has, I forget what it's called, does allow him to draw every time he plays a spell for 3 times. It as well as applies some frost damage, some chill, and dark to the highest HP enemy. So we're able to refill our hand quite comfortably, though again, it's so expensive, we're not able to play just anything. The Shadow Bolts here do a bit more damage than the other Curse Bolts, which apply a bit more dark. Early on, I wasn't sure which way to go, but I felt like getting the more damage would be better, since we're going more of a shadow application, or shadow damage route, rather than a dark application route. And thankfully Gustav was shackled here, so he wasn't able to go first and die immediately to the burn, which was really nice. And we should be able to finish off Ylmer at turn 4 with only 80 HP left. Malicious Eye, that's a 0-cost card. We get a nice bouncing shield here for some reason. Not super useful. We get an upgraded music sheet though, so we can kind of gamble with the songs that we find. We find Panacea as well, which can dispel 3 and heal. It does count as a heal card as well. We have Throw Bolas, which can apply shackles. It's a pretty nice get for slowing down some really troublesome enemies. We get Purple Slippers as well, so now Gustav will be faster than everything, even if we go to the Frostlands, which is really nice, because that is where I want to go after. I kind of decided that after getting Slippers. Here we find a Golden Chalice, which gives plus on Bless charges. There aren't a whole lot of things in the game that do that, so I buy it immediately for Reginald. The more Bless we can apply, the better. I'm showing off the Healing Surge there. When you play a healing card that costs energy, it will apply Bless, or you'll apply Bless to the lowest HP hero. That is percentage-wise, so it's not flat HP. And it means that you have to play a fun and interesting game with applying Ylmer's Vitality and getting the Bless on the hero that you want it to be on. Which will most of the time be Reginald and Zek, because we're going to be having them do the damage. Yeah, I'll get into that a little bit later, once we start seeing it happen. For Reginald's deck, we're getting rid of the rest of our barriers, because those are all pretty useless. There's a few obvious things to get rid of. The Shivs aren't super useful in Gustav's deck either. We ended up picking up a lot of cards in the early game, so I'm able to get rid of all the things that aren't super useful. Cheapening deck Zek, or yeah, deck Zek's, no, cheapening Zek's deck for a little bit, making sure that we have a good mix of lower cost cards to the higher cost cards. It's still a little bit more expensive than I'd like, but he kind of just starts with a really expensive deck, so it's usually better if you can give him some energy, which we're not really doing, at least not until the very late game when Ylmer hits level 5. Gustav might be able to do it too with an Energizing Serenade, which will give 3 energy to like all heroes. It's pretty good. Holy Smite is a nice scaling card for Reginald. It got even better once we picked up that Bless, but I'm going to be getting rid of one because it's expensive, and we're going to be trying to give Bless through healing more so than Reginald attacking, at least for the moment. There's a good call to potentially get some Ballad of Evasions here, because they can apply Inspire and give everybody evasion. They can be really clutch in surviving some really nasty turns. Eternal Lullaby is also a really good one to get because it applies Force Slow to the entire enemy team, meaning if Gustav gets it first turn, he can just do that and then make sure that we go faster. Plus, with the song refund, where you get 1 energy every time you play a song that costs an energy, it means that we could play both that, slow down the enemy team by 4, still have 1 energy remaining, and get the Song of Celerity up, and speed up our team by 2 fast, which should outspeed pretty much everything, even at the slightly lower speeds we're going here. One thing that might be nice to pick up here is an Anthem of Hope, actually. But I do want to have a little bit more Sanctify as well. So a Dawn's Light that hits all the enemies and applies Sanctify to everybody for 1 is pretty decent. Alternatively, a Radiant Assault is not bad as far as damage goes, but it's really expensive and we're not buffing Reginald too much right now. Flash Heals are really good in Reginald's deck because they're basically a free draw card, apply Bless to the lowest HP hero, who does have to be damaged percent-wise for that to apply. Once he gets level 3, so Shadow Bolts, I'm like, alright, it deals X based onto your dark, which that can have a fair amount of dark, but to be honest, like the best you could ever get out of it is 37 base damage, which for 2 cost isn't really that good. Like, it's not bad, but like that's in an ideal circumstance, and a lot of the time it'll do a lot less than that, so I don't really see the need for it. We changed our Curse of Exhaustion here to apply 2 slow instead of Purge the fast. I am actually not sure if that's the right play or not, but it felt like we could use that 2 slow on a random monster some of the time. And yeah, then we'll head off. Straight away we get to fight a Lamia, which will silence our entire team on turn 2, which is very bad because we have 3 spellcasters. They are song spells in Gustav's deck as well. Yogu's the only one who'd be able to really play cards after that, and that can make the fight drag on because it silences you for 2 turns. Thanks to the modifier where all enemies get +1 more charges of the curses and enchantments that they do, or buffs, so yeah. Being silenced for 2 turns means 2 turns of doing nothing, which is really brutal, so we need to kill her before she does that, or we need to at least kill some enemies so we can survive the other 2 turns that we'd have to you'd have to make it and maybe kill like turn 5. But the ideal is just to kill her. So thankfully she's a bit slow, so teams can kill her through that. She does get a bunch of resistance to magic, like the elemental damage through the insulate, and everybody has mitigate as well. So it's a bit hard to deal damage to her, but hopefully you have enough. I don't remember if this fight took me multiple attempts, but I could probably assume that on many of these we did have to take multiple attempts. We get a fun, energizing serenade there for the music, which is cool. It's nice to pull off. It's a big fat heal plus a bunch of energy, so I was pretty happy. We get a great status here, thanks to not getting silenced. We pick up another upgraded Malicious Eye. I take a Captivating Voice because it's a 4 slow on Gustav. It doesn't cost too much to use either, so that's pretty nice. Here we go into the nest as deep as possible. So I slowed down the footage back to just a regular 100%, and I completely lost track of where it was, so I had to rewatch the video, found that it was on the far right side. I do slow that down just so anyone who wants to can play along if they want to see it, but I'm not really giving any time to look over it. I am enjoying the random musical card we can get, though it does create a lot of, alternative futures, is maybe how you can put it, where you can restart the combat, play cards in a slightly different order. Well, it doesn't actually work that way. Or does it? I don't know. Basically, if you play cards in a slightly different order, you can change what cards the musical notes show, but it's not just playing them in different order. You have to like have another card that shows you cards. So like a setup works where you're drawing cards from your deck. It's really funky and a really weird thing to learn about this game. Not really something I think they intend for people to play around, but I do it because Madness 16 is kind of hard. And I'm playing a very suboptimal team, I would say. I didn't really feel like this team ever hit a super high note where they were very overpowering, but they didn't feel very bad either. I guess I'm just kind of reeling off the last two teams I had that were pretty good. I know I ran into a really difficult fight with the Wilbur team, and I ran into some difficult fights with Navalia too, but I didn't have to like refight or retry most of the encounters. Whereas with this team, I think I had to retry like the most encounters I've ever had to do before. Like I said, I'm skipping a lot of the retries because I don't think they're gonna be as interesting to watch, and it would just extend the video to be forever. This video is already a little bit longer than my past few videos have been. I've been trying to get them to be shorter. So yeah, this fight wasn't too bad. We're really just playing around, keeping our health up, as well as finishing the fights as fast as possible. So for a lot of these harder fights, we're aiming for the goods. Sometimes greats if we can manage it. Yin Yang Bolt is a fun pickup here because it does do damage based on the dark enemies have. I really want to pick up Black Deck from the Frozen Sewers, so that enemies could have up to 30 dark on them and explode at that level, but it's going to be a little bit difficult to pick up. We get a nice healing Serenade here, which we can play turn 1 because we had tune-up, and we have setup where we can set up on top of our deck, so now when we take damage, we can heal back up to full. Reginald can also heal us. I hate this spider. I really hate this spider. One, they're super resistant to the dark and holy damage types, and two, they apply courage and to the entire team. I think they get rid of like sanctify and stuff on themselves, and then they also hit your entire team and put an amnesia into your deck, which will, when you draw it, discard another card in your hand if you've already drawn one, which is really, really brutal. It can mean that if you only had your regular 5 cards a turn, you now only had 3 cards, and also it does damage. So yeah, this fight was a bit challenging. Definitely wasn't able to take the modifier on it. Pick up a Battle Shout because I'm feeling the need for more powerful here on both Zek and Reginald, because we want Reginald to start doing damage next stack. I thought about picking up the Bookworm there. It was a really hard decision because I know I want some books in the late game, like a Cursonomicon, but it's going to be bad right now while I have literally 0 books. I went through it really fast there, but we just picked up the put a meat in everybody's deck for Yogur. Reginald's getting a heal buff where every time he plays a heal, he gets the refund and applies Bless, like we talked about earlier. Gustav gets the same, but for songs, and then also instead of applying Bless, he applies Regen, which is way less good, though I think it always works. It doesn't have to actually heal someone. And it just hits the lowest HP hero. I could be wrong about that, don't quote me. And then Zek gets his Dark Feast, so now for every 8 Dark Charges he has on him, he will reduce all the cards in his opening hand by 1. So yeah, you can have up to 38 Dark Charges on Zek, well 37 if you want to not pop them, because I gave him the Dark Passive, where it's the final line of the Dark applications where you can go up to 38 Dark, planning for this build. It's a fun passive. It's hard to work around sometimes because you don't get Dark straight away, so it makes you very much a turn 2 character. But as you can see here, my entire hand is free. And free cards are very nice to play, especially when you can draw more with the Soul acquisition card. So even though we're going through our deck in a fast manner here, we are able to play most everything that we draw. And yeah, we can kill the skeleton our turn back, who's going to do a ton of damage to us. This fight was very difficult. Really hard to keep everybody alive, but it's kind of imperative that we keep as many people alive as possible. And by keep everybody alive, I mean it was really hard just not to die. I feel like I'm underselling that a little bit. Yeah, shackling the big man there was really nice so that he wasn't able to go and hit us straight away. Unfortunately, I'm not able to get the kill on him. So yeah, he does get the chance to just attack us and do a bit more damage. The lava guy is also incredibly close to death, and I don't have a way... Oh wait, I do have poison dart, I can kill him. I didn't kill him. Did I not notice I had poison dart? Oh man. Rewatching some of your mistakes sucks. Oh no, he was taunting. The other guy was taunting, that's why I didn't play the poison dart, because it didn't matter. Alright. Yeah. Pretty sure I didn't make a mistake that dumb, hopefully. Lunar Wing's interesting, gives you more chill and what's called charges, so I pick it up on Zek because I do want him to chill a little bit more. We have a campsite down here, so we're able to get rid of some of the curses that we had to get coming in here. And we can't do heavenly armaments, that's way too tough for this fight. They apply a lot of dark with the mummy and the monk in back. The super monk is often a really hard challenge for a lot of teams, I feel like, because he just can... how to put it? He blows up your squishies really fast, because dark just has that habit of, like, you know, doing no damage until it does a ton. He also puts some bad stuff into your deck, which when you draw it will deal more dark and deal more damage, so you can sometimes like be like, okay, I'm fine on this turn, and then that character goes, they draw the card and then blow up and die, and it's very sad. But like, the dark charges at 25 explode to deal 50, but they realistically do more than 50 to anybody who has less than less than 0% shatter resist, so in the negatives, meaning you're often taking like 70, 75, which is enough to kill Gustav's current health, if you might notice. So it's also important that we give him as much vitality as possible so he can survive some of these turns. We want to keep that scarab alive whenever we can. Thankfully, we were able to just barely kill the monk there. Unfortunately, the mummy was able to summon a Skelebro, which makes this fight go on a bit longer. Now we can kill the scarab, no problem though. That's one of the reasons we couldn't play the bounce cards in Zek's deck, because I didn't want to risk killing the scarab, and I really wanted to get it before it escaped. I thought that'd be nice to have. It's an interesting little UI bug up there where it says round 3, like it's color-coded like we'd still get an excellent, but we absolutely won't. It's a great right now. I think it is for 2 turns. No, wait, it isn't excellent. Wait, why is it 3 turns? Normally it's not 3 turns here. Or maybe it is. Maybe this is like the one fight where it's 3 turns in Act 2. Man, did I just learn something? Probably. The Necromancer here is tough. We get a tune-up and we have a Ballad of Conquest from our music sheet, so that's awesome. We're able to play Ballad of Conquest straight away, meaning we can start buffing up the Bless and Sharp charges on everybody. It doesn't give a ton straight away, but it also gives Powerful to everyone. And if we get some, awesome meats? I forget what they're called. Anyways, we get the super meats, they can increase the charges of the Bless and the Sharp, so we'll be pretty strong. And once we get some more Ballad of Conquest, that one card, the Divine, Power, whatever. The one that's giving Zek Powerful is really just going to be in the way, and it'd be better if it's a damage card. We're able to heal up to full. It was really important that we take out that second guy so we don't just die that turn, or the turn after, actually. This fight was really challenging. This is one of the many really challenging fights. God, this run was so cursed. I'm sorry to whoever asked me to check out Zek, and because like, oh, I want to see like more builds with him. I'm apparently not that good at Zek. To be fair, I am definitely doing a suboptimal build. I was much more comfortable in the Dark Explosion, and hopefully that video is able to help you out a little bit more. But yeah, I am also struggling with him. I think I also just struggled with the way I was building this team. You could sub out probably like Reginald for Andrin, make a much faster team, go more speed manipulation, potentially do some more fun with Noxious Fumes and Poison, because Andrin and Gustav could pick up some poison cards. So there's some cool stuff you could do there. But I really wanted to try out like chaos because it sounded very fun. I'm a big fan of, like, I guess chaos isn't the normal term for it. I'm a big fan of light and dark combining together to do damage. We do get a Ballad of Conquest in Gustav's deck finally. Also able to pick up a nice upgraded Dark Blast. The Architect's Ring is really nice. Ylmer's constantly playing skills, so we'll give a random hero 1 Inspire, 1 Energize when he plays a skill, which is basically every turn ever. Not really sure what I want to pick up here, so I pick up Burial Mask. We also pick up the +2 speed ring for Gustav, so now he really will be faster than everything, which is fantastic. We want to get the pet upgraded there. I saw it and I was very thankful, so now we're going to go to the series anyway, and now we'll just continue going. So, like I said, there's not a lot of ways to get Bless charges increased, so I pick up the Chalice of Kings. Mainly just in case we find another Chalice of Kings, or potentially want to make it go purple with the Rat King and his passive. Man, words are hard right now. I get rid of the Omen of Hope because I don't think I need to Courage just yet, even though it's a nice heal apply Courage card. I kind of want to apply Courage with a mass AoE Courage instead. That is the plan. Even though it's not a heal card, it also gives Inspire to everybody. So, yeah, a single target Courage wouldn't be as good. I'm debating whether I want to get rid of Captivating Voice or not. Gustav's deck is a little bit expensive, though his passive is making it so that it's not too much of a worry. There's an argument for getting rid of more chance of accuracies. The main reason I want to get rid of cards is because we want to find we want to find the purple tune-up as fast as possible, and we don't want to be at 21 cards not finding it. Like, it'd be bad if it's worse to find like 2 chance of accuracies than it is to find like the 1 purple tune-up and grab a Ballad of Conquest and play that for basically 2 cost, because the purple tune-up also reduces the cost of any song it finds by 1 permanently. And by permanently, I mean for that fight. Not actually permanently. So looking at good cards here, Book of Nightmares is a very nice card. We'd get the one that goes into your hand rather than into the deck. And it just allows you to get a bunch of recurring nightmares. Then other curses, the Curse of Torments, where you apply some, I forget, is it Zeal? No, I don't know, it's something else. The Dark charges, Scourge, where Dark Explosions do 10% more damage per charge of that. So we are opting for that as well. Let's see. Scavenge is a very nice card. God, it's so expensive. 216 shards for that. Oh, God. It's a nice card, but it's not like, I don't know, the most amazing, but it helps you when you use setups or use Trace to discard stuff from Gustav's opening hand. If you have a Scavenge in your opening hand, you can pick up any of the cards you discarded, effectively giving you a 5 more cards to choose from in your opening hand, which is really strong. And that's even if you want to use Trace on yourself. You could use Trace on anybody else and affect the decks. That's also part of why this team, I think, took a little bit longer, because there's so many available options with Trace. So that's how it tends to be. It was like that with the Scout run as well. I wouldn't say this team was as hard as the Scouts for me to do, but it might have been close. Scouts are decent. Scouts kill fast. The only hard part was making sure we had to kill like the final bosses round 2, at least Hanshek, because we needed our pets alive and outspeeding everything, so we had to find some speed items. But other than that, Scouts was good. There's an argument for picking up another Ballad of Conquest here. We have a lot of shards, so I do it. There's an argument for not picking it up either. I want to pick up an Entrench. Then I realized that we only have 1 Fortify charge on Ylmer. I feel like there's a whole lot of suboptimal things on these perk pages, so I'm not going to be putting them on the video, because I think I came up with much better perk pages after the fact. I had it at the start of the video in case anybody wanted to see what I used for the run, but if you do the run, get another Fortify charge. You're going to want it. There's also Ballad of Evasion, which I do think is really good. I'm hoping to find one if we can, because getting that extra Inspire with Gustav for the cost of a song is really good. Plus the evades. Like, again, I can't underestimate how much those evades could make us survive really tough turns. We do pick up Reoccurring Nightmare for Zek because it's basically the cheapest way I can think of for him to... God, I can't believe we just got rid of Captivating Voice there. Sorry, that stunned me. But it's the cheapest way I could think of to increase the power level of his deck. So we are going to be going Frozen Sewers here. There is a pet merchant there, so we upgrade Reginald's pet, which was the Light QB that we bought in the Act 2. Light QB allows us to get Bless every turn, as well as apply more Sanctify to the enemy every time it hits, so Reginald's going to be powering himself up a lot faster now. So you can see every turn he gives himself Bless, plus the QB's giving him Bless, so he's at 6 already thanks to the King's Chalice, meaning he can start doing a bit more damage a bit faster. It's just good. Here we get the Soul Harvest again, that's what the card is called. I'm glad I was able to see it this time. And yet again we have to fight another spider. I swear this run was cursed. This is so many spiders, and when it wasn't spiders, it was spell-casting Lamias, and it wasn't that, it was Dark Monks, which are incredibly resistant to the main source of damage that I had, which was shadow damage, and they also just do a ton of Dark Explosions, and we're trying to put Dark on Zek, so it was very easy for them to pop him. Gosh, this was just such a challenging run. One of the nice things about the Chaos build, if I haven't mentioned it yet, is that you do have the dual damage types. So you have Holy and Dark. It does mean you get screwed over by something like the Spider, which is Courage based. But it also means that if something is super resistant to Dark, like many of the enemies in the end game, or super resistant to Holy, like many of the enemies in the end game, you can at least do damage with one of your carries to them, and oftentimes that's enough to switch it up. So we have 24 Dark on us to start with, so our entire hand was basically free. Super awesome, allows us to play Recurring Nightmare. Unfortunately, still can't kill that spider, or anything else for that matter, though it doesn't really seem to matter too much as we are going to heal up. Yeah, God, the Courage just keeps everything alive for so long. It's so difficult. Pestilence here should mop the floor with everything. Yeah. Cool. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get a Great instead of an Excellent. We get a Radiant Assault here in Reginald's deck, which is going to be good. It's a little bit hard to pull off in this game, but it's going to be better later. Ironclad is a really hard modifier, so plus 20% resistances is no joke, because we're not the best at reducing enemy resistances outside of using Vulnerable, and potentially Decay if we can get it, which, yeah, is a little bit hard to come by right now, but it'll be very clutch later. The Decay actually will reduce enemy resistances by more than each vulnerable charge, because vulnerable charges is by 5%, whereas the Decay is by 8% per charge. Though Decay cannot stack, so it's a little bit hard to get up there. But also, to be fair, the vulnerability charges only stack up to 6, so because I didn't take I don't know, I was really strapped for perk points. I felt like it was really tough to find the right mix here to get enough money and do some other stuff. Yeah, I just wasn't able to find the vulnerability perk to increase to 7. Largely because I was doing a lot of damage modifiers on Zek. I think I could optimize this version of it a little bit better. I think our card luck has been pretty decent, even if our monster fight luck has been pretty bad. So that's definitely something going for this run. I don't think Zek's gotten the best cards. I mean, the Unstable Power for purple was really nice, but he hasn't really found anything else, like, truly amazing. I mean, again, the purple, like, Malicious Eye is good. It chains one more time. But Chain is a lot weaker than Jump because it reduces damage every time, so the final charge of it usually isn't doing that much. And it really just isn't, like, that strong to begin with, unlike some other cards, so... Would really love to see, like, Cursonomicons or something more powerful coming into Zek's deck. Like a Double Darkness, or potentially Dual Dark repeatedly to all enemies, making Zek finish everything off fast. Instead, we're relying on our jump damage cards, which we had since the very early game to deal the majority of damage here. We didn't want to kill that fire guy up front because they would just spawn a second bunny on top of that. This bunny fight's really annoying. I think we had to kill that guy in 3rd position, because if we didn't, they ended up killing us. So we ended up yeah, we end up needing to fight the bunnies at their level. And they're hard to kill. They have a surprising amount of dark resistance. Who would have figured? And holy resistance, but I mean, again, it's because of Ironclad. But I didn't realize that the bunnies were so anti, like holy and dark. Yeah, God, with Ironclad, they start at like 74, because with Ironclad they're at like 94% resistances, which is one shy of the max cap for resistances, where you do basically no damage to them. So the bunny was just a huge pain to fight, and we're having to stack up to 50 sharp, 31 bless, and then some powerful to even have a chance at killing the bunny. Not to mention they're so fast that they'll just summon another bunny if you're not able to go faster than them the next turn. So yeah, we're all the way to round 6 already. Was Ironclad worth it? Good question. You can ask me at the end of the fight. Again, all the damage just has to be focused on the bunny, otherwise he'll summon another partner, and this cycle will repeat forever. Now that the bunny is dead, we can focus our damage on everybody else, and look at that, they die like instantly. Though we are unfortunately getting a poor rating here, so we don't even get a card tier upgrade. But everybody does survive, which was far preferable to the many deaths that could have happened. And maybe some alternate timelines where they did happen that I'm not showing. Could get a prescription there where we get a random healing card for Reginald, but I opt not to. I pick up a Dawn's Light because it's a 0 cost damage card. I pick up another Pestilence because I'm noticing we're not getting AoE cards. And I got a unupgraded Scavenge on Gustav, which we will be upgrading later, so at least he was able to find another one, so some luck there. Gustav's been definitely getting the best cards. The Reginald's have also been really good. I can't deny that. We're getting rid of Shifting Scroll because I'm not able to use it too often, and now that I have my cost reduction, I don't necessarily need the Zek's starting card, which is the Black Death. Here we're going into the vault. I didn't really have a ton of money, so I couldn't buy much from the merchant, so the vault seemed a little bit better. I tried out Zek's option, and then I repeated this because I was like, no, Zek's option only gives you 200 gold and 200 shards, and I can just use a video to find out where this thing goes, although I was actually able to follow it the entire time here. You can see me circling it. I checked the video, I was right. So, yeah, that's 1,500 gold and 1,500 shards, which is far better. I was hoping Zek's option would maybe like find a few items that he hid. It'd be really cool if there was a unique item hidden there in like his secret stash that he had in the frozen sewers, like his whole domain. So, I don't know. I don't know if that, like, I get the option of having a low risk where you just get free money and shards is like kind of cool for bringing Zek along, but realistically it's just not going to be as good as the other rewards for, I don't know, it's not enough of a reward for skipping out on the golden shards there, which any team can do even without Zek. Here we fight another spider. Gosh, there really were a ton of spiders. Man, this run was cursed. Okay, I am feeling like less bad as I look back through this run because I had struggled so much, but watching this video and giving commentary over it's really helped me gain some perspective on how much I just had to fight enemies that constantly countered me. Not only is there a spider here, one, we need to take out the seahorse because he could apply AoE slow to our entire team and just make it so that we die. So we had to kill him. Two, there's also a Lancer that is anti-vitality, which is our main source of tanking a lot of damage. And he does damage based off of our vitality as well as taking it away from us, so it's just really painful. Nearly kills Gustav. It was a real pain to figure out how to make him survive this. Does kills Gustav because he attacks with Thorn. Oh god, the wolf attacked and he had Thorns damage on him, so the Sanctify wasn't enough. I think what's really annoying is I believe the damage happens on the first enemy you hit before you get the heal from Sanctify. I could be wrong on that, don't quote me. But it means that you can die really easily, and Yoga ends up dying here too, which is pretty terrible to be honest. This sets us up fairly poorly for the Rat King fight. As you can see, the spider is insanely resistant to us with the Courage, and I don't have a lot of ways to reduce resistances outside of Sanctify. We get a purple Eternal Lullaby though. That is nice for Gustav. We get an Expected Prophecy in Reginald's deck. We are not able to do Cold Hands. I knew that straight away. There's no chance of that happening. We do have a poison flask, which is cool because we, I believe, picked up a noxious fumes, which gives us the damage based off of poison. So this is pretty good. This team is a little bit tough. The Dracomancer can stun your friends. We again have to fight a Lancer. The Lancer is, of course, very resistant to holy damage, but very weak to shadow, so Zek's our main carry. He can kind of take him out. However, the Fiend is really resistant to dark damage, but really weak to holy, so Reginald can kind of take him out, but not as fast oftentimes, and the Fiend will slow our entire team. So if he gets to go, we're in trouble. Thankfully, we draw our purple Eternal Lullaby that we just picked up, and I decide not to play it. So yeah, that's an option. If I had played it, we could have gone first with everybody. I guess I was thinking I had enough to tank with Yogurt and I could just heal. Unfortunately, Reginald gets stunned, and that's going to set us up really poorly for the next turn. Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to do this. This is not looking too hot. Also, everything having thorns is really annoying because normally the main way this team deals with it is by applying Sanctify to the monsters, which they have a bit of, but not enough to counteract the thorns completely. And Reginald got stunned, so he can apply more Sanctify. So there we all get slowed. The Fiend does his job, makes it really painful. Thankfully, they don't have too many thorns there, so Gustav's able to survive, plus there's a little bit of Sanctify, so he heals a bit on the back end. Then he's able to dispel and heal after that. We're powering up Zek as much as possible, though at this point it might be prudent to power up Reginald's because most of the enemies here, well, the Fiend is the one enemy that's resistant to Zek, and none of the enemies are particularly resistant to Reginald's damage, though he doesn't have the most damaging deck. We do want to heal up to full because I did want to fight the Rat King. I felt like it was pretty important to do. I actually spent a long time like trying to figure out how to get to a point where we could kill the Rat King. Here I realized that not dying is pretty important. I think I died before. I tried this, died, fought the Rat King, couldn't win. Hoped that maybe I could fight the Rat King afterwards. Did it without dying, fought the Rat King, couldn't win. Gave up hope for a bit. Tried this run completely new with basically a more tanky team that could survive hits a lot better and then heal up better after the fact. As well as just lean into Reginald's damage more. But realized, I don't know, it just wasn't as interesting to me. It was kind of boring. So went back to this and also realized I didn't have to fight the Rat King. I could just use the upgrade. So we get the Holy card here. So there's a lot of upgrades really quick. I'll go through them one at a time. We get our purple Chalice of Kings. It's pretty good, minus 12 HP. Didn't really have jewelry anyways. Plus we wanted to get the Topaz Ring. That was one of the reasons we went the route that we did in the Sandlands, is because I never picked up the Topaz Ring before. And the Topaz Ring is really cool. I'll mention it briefly when we get it. It'll be a very fast section. But yeah, our level ups just now are really, really strong. This might be the biggest power spike that we have. I don't know, getting level 5 is pretty decent, but I don't think it's... Well, level 5 is a really big power spike for Reginald. It's a really mediocre power spike for Gustav. It's great for Yogurt, who gets much better meats, and the meats can provide energize. I have premium meats, right? And then there's gourmet meats. And then Zek's level 5 is decent. It's more damage, but it's not too amazing. And we don't want to get the perks that give Zek more dark charges because he'd blow himself up too fast. Also, this fight's really challenging. The rat reduces our aura charges and is fairly resistant to dark, as is the mummy. So, having not a ton of luck here. I'm surprised I'm not redoing the fight, actually. Might be worth it to do, because it costs 175 gold to remove Death's Doors. It's really expensive. There's a gourmet meat I was talking about. Gourmet meat? No, gourmet. Here has a pretty decent turn here, but we don't have... I feel like Zek's just a little bit too slow. That's really a product of him being slowed down to his lowest possible speed so that Reginald could guaranteed go faster than him. Again, I don't know how worth it that was. I did try this with Andrin first, and I didn't feel like doing a one-shot team again. So we do have to redo this fight. Honestly, probably could have cut that one. But it's not too bad. Just got to figure out how to play the cards in the right order. It didn't feel like this fight was too hard or too far away. We want to kill the cat first because she's a really brutal combo with the Ylmer Knight up front. Basically, he will taunt on the second turn, and she will give him like 9 zeal. I don't remember if she gives taunt automatically or not, but I don't think she does. If she does, that's just super brutal. And he's already very resistant as a monster, so the 9 zeal makes him basically unkillable, unless you just had a fat stack of charges that reduce his resistances. I should mention here too, the purple potion that we got on Gustav has been paying off so hard. It's been getting his health back up very fast every time, and has mattered in so many of these fights. I'm grateful to have it, even though I picked it up as sort of just a whim. As you can see, Reginald's doing some really solid damage here, and we're able to kill on round 2 with a bit better play. The dragon fight I'm not too worried about. I know Gustav's going to be faster. I'm waiting turns here because I want to heal up as much as possible, though, before the dragon fight. Just in case, I think we can, or just in case we couldn't speed up enough. But I think we can speed up Ylmer enough that it won't be a problem. I do want Curse of Decay here because I want a way to apply for Decay. And yeah, the dragon is pretty rough, but Ylmer's able to go faster. Unfortunately, Zek and Reginald are not. But if we play Eternal Lullaby, we should be able to go faster. I could have chained Bolas the dragon as well to make sure he went slower than Zek. But I kind of wanted him to go before Zek because he's going to steal a bunch of our auras. So there's a little bit of a game there. Yeah, and I was fairly confident we could survive. Sorry, pause for a second there. The Soul Harvest is nice because it's another way that we're slowing down the enemy. We're kind of slowing down Zek too. He does stun Gustav. Oh god, his tongue out, just, that was so silly. He's like looking up with his eyes closed, his tongue out, hanging out like it always is, and just, that was a very silly image. I do enjoy this game's artwork. It's very, it's called, I don't know. I enjoy it more than I've enjoyed some of the other deck builders I've played. Which, by the way, I am going to be releasing a new deck builder on Friday. So it should be a day after this video comes out, a new deck building video. I'm going to be starting Slay the Spire. So anybody who's watching at exactly this part, this is the this is the way you can find out. No, I'm also going to be making a post about it. But my plan is to do a rank up Slay the Spire run because that was my first one that I started playing. I was playing a lot of roguelikes before, like Binding of Isaac and some other stuff. And Slay the Spire got me into roguelike deck building, as I'm sure it did many people. And yeah, and from there, I don't know, I just feel like it's worth revisiting. Here we get Last Reward though. We also find a Cursonomicon. I've been saying I wanted it. We do find it. It's very nice. We also get some interesting things here. Oh wait, how did Gustav heal up before? He didn't have the greater health potion yet. Disregard what I said before. Gustav getting the greater health potion is really nice. His Jingle Bells isn't too useful. It's probably just healing off of his wolf attacking and the Sanctify charges. Because the wolf does deal damage for better and worse. It does take me a while to decide what I want here for each person. I think Ylmer's best off skipping because I kind of enjoy the speed that he's getting from his suppression helmet. Good timing past me. There's not really much I want here for Reginald, though I could take a potion. His Horseshoe Potion isn't terrible. Ninja Scroll is okay, gives him some evasion every turn. I enjoyed having the Dark thing, and then I'm picking up the book weapon for Zek here. It could be nice to grab a Chalice of Queens because it does apply more dark charges as well as more shadow damage and regen charges. So honestly, it might be nice for Gustav potentially if I apply more dark with him. Like, man, who has Black Hole? I was looking for Black Hole for Zek. I'm like, that's a good thing that he can get, right? And I'm like not seeing it all, realize that, oh, it's a cleric card, of course. It is called Black Hole. Good. I got it right. So yeah, there's a few cards that I still could hope to pick up on Zek that would be very strong. but his deck isn't terrible. As it stands, it's decent. I'm not going to lower the cost of Curse of Decay because even though we have a lot of shards, I want to spend them on stuff that's going to help us a lot, like Entrench is a good block card, all said. We don't have the most energy on Ylmer, but we did get a Blood Rage, and we can make sure that it stays in the deck so that we can keep it. There's an argument to go the random Radiant Assault because it applies Sanctify, so we can get a lot more charges on them a lot quicker on enemies. But it's a little bit difficult for the twins fight because you might hit a target that you really don't want to hit. So I opt not to do it, and maybe should upgrade it later for the final boss fights. We do pick up a Adrenaline for Gustav so he can have more energy because he's picking up a lot of expensive stuff. Reginald, I'm trying to figure out if there's anything that I really desperately want. There's a lot of like nice to haves, but there's nothing I really need. I end up upgrading a Transfuse here because I finally have 2 Transfuses and a Burning Blood, so I can bleed the enemies out, steal their bleed, and put it onto my team. Unfortunately, I'm also relying a lot on Ylmer for block, and I'm not really an all-in OTK build, so this isn't really the best time for that bleed strategy to shine. Get rid of some stuff here, like the Intercept. I mean, honestly, I should get rid of Change Weapon because I don't have a lot of weapons here, although I was still hoping to do the bleed build, which Divine Strike could potentially do, though it's so expensive that I'd basically never be able to play it unless I could find some cost-reducing cards, like a Super Sword. And even then, it'd be hard to play that and anything else that'd be useful. Reginald's getting more into his carry phase, so I get rid of a Clarity. I do want an upgraded Clarity so I can remove some Sanctify, because removing Sanctify is really important in the final fight, but I'm also hoping to pick up a Mass Dispel. There's a lot of good things I can get. Sacred Ceremony is also pretty good. It applies Bless and heals the entire team, so that's one of the cards I'm looking out for, though ideally I'd get it upgraded where it's only 4 costs, because then the Omen would make it only 2 costs, which means Reginald's Refund would mean it cost 1, where I apply 5 Bless and heal the entire team for some amount. 25 is probably not the exact amount because of modifiers. I am keeping Pulsing Heal in the deck. No, I'm not. Pulsing Heal has had its time to shine. It was a good heal for the early game, but I don't need it anymore. I want to keep the Sweet Melodies in the deck kind of for Gustav, though I do have a Healing Serenade now, which can dispel 1 for the entire team and heal the entire team instead of just dispelling 2 for 1 person, healing them and giving them regen. Though there's an argument to be said for keeping the other one inside so I could have Gustav focus better on healing, which we might need. Might notice the abrupt slowdown here. I forgot to leave town. Or basically, I'm going to get rid of all the Burning Bloods and the bleed strategy because it just doesn't work out too well. Like I said, I don't have it here. And I'm going to, remember, don't forget to pick up Anthem of Hope, which Anthem of Hope is very important. It gives you courage, which can help you on literally all the most difficult fights to come. It gives you 30% resistance to Holy, Dark, and Mind, which all the bosses that we're going to be facing from now on do, and most of the enemies do as well. So, yeah. Anthem of Hope is very good. If you have a healer, pick it up. It's going to help you a lot. Plus, it gives Inspire, so we're able to find it here, which is nice. We get Inspire to everybody, plus we have a lot of damage resistance now, so now I'm a lot more confident about taking the damage that these guys are going to dish. Like I said, we're kind of slow team. We have to go to round 2, but we're not the most blocky team, so it's a little bit dangerous for us to go round 2. You see, even with courage, we nearly died. Thankfully didn't. But yeah, we will be able to heal up. Gustav's pretty good at healing with his Healing Serenade now, plus we have his passive card, which can heal up quite a bit. We also are able to power up the team with the Battle of Conquest, so it's going pretty much like we drew it up. This fight's not too bad. So maybe one of the more tame fights we have. There is a monk here, and the guy in front can do a lot of damage. But as far as fights go, this one isn't that hard. And yeah, we're able to kill pretty fast here. Hopefully get that excellent. Yeah, Zek has a lot of damage, plus this guy is not dark resistant. He's very much on the light resistant side. We get a last stand here, that's perfect. I did want last stand for the entrench. We get a corrupted blade, I pick it up because it gives decay, and it's also going to be applying poison. So I figure that's going to be good. We also we failed, but we were able to get an item out of there, so we get a Crusader's helmet on Ylmer, which is pretty nice, ups his tankiness a little bit. I don't feel like I need the speed anymore, and having a little bit more block on him is going to be good for the twins fight, plus a little bit more resistances on him as well. So, well, that's pretty good, though. I could use some better armor, to be totally honest, and even slowing him down before the final fight would be good, because having him... Anyway, there's a weird speed manipulation where basically I need him to be slow so that he can slow the clones after they spawn, and Gustav's automatically going to be slowing the final boss, so I need Ylmer to be like sub 15 with armor. Yeah, it's a little bit funky. Or sub 14. Yeah, I need him to be sub 14. Jeez. Crazy. This fight, again, not too bad as far as fights go. It's kind of hard for Reginald to do damage, but when Reginald has a tough time, we can rely on Zek and vice versa. So, it's very, very manageable. The advantage of the Chaos build. Last Reward, again, is a really nice card. I haven't been playing it too much with Gustav, but it does mean we can get cards out of our graveyard for free. They do vanish after you use them, though. And it's only free if we are able to upgrade Last Reward. Otherwise, it can grab a vanished card once, but I'm not going to be doing that too often. Unless I get a Healing Serenade, then I totally want to do it, because Healing Serenade's awesome. And it always vanishes. Yeah. Reginald's able to do some damage, but not a ton, and now Zek gets to go. He gets to have his pop-off turn. He's unfortunately not I wasn't able to bless him and give Sharp too much. Definitely a fine line between supporting the entire team, healing them up, as well as giving damage buffs to everybody. Or I guess I would be supporting the entire team. But yeah, trying to figure out a way to kill both of these guys immediately. Didn't quite have the damage, so we are going to be getting a great instead of an excellent. Maybe the excellent cards could have been game-changing, but I was okay with this. We get another last stand, which is nice. I'm hoping to pick up like a Citadel or something like that. There's a good chance we don't get one, but here's a Topaz Ring. So, Topaz Ring. We'll go over it while I do this dreaded fight. This fight took me like, I don't know, this was just as hard as the Seahorse fight from last time probably, because they can basically insta-kill my entire team from full health with the Dark Explosions. It's brutal. So how does this fight go? The Topaz Ring, whenever you play a spell, it heals the lowest HP hero, or recovers them for 7%, as well as applies Bless and Zeal. So you can see right there, we played some spells, got some Zeal on Reginald, and blessed them. It is just the lowest HP hero flat, it's not a percentage based, so it's a bit different from how the passive works on Reginald. Meaning you could have the ring affect somebody different from the passive, giving bless to both sources, but Reginald was able to get up to 40 bless pretty fast here, which is nice. Taking some long pauses in between because I had to retry this fight like, I don't know, a ton of times. I spent probably combined over 2 hours on this fight. Over a long period. I'm actually recording this the day before this video goes up, so this run was taking me quite some time. I was getting nervous about not finishing it on time. You know, had some other stuff going on. There's a Thanksgiving weekend that was taking up time last week, which was great. So yeah. The team was not the strongest. I was going for more of a meme team, and I think I'm paying the price in this run with this particular fight. Killing the angel there was critical so that we don't die this turn. So yeah, because like even though we could heal the full this turn with everybody, it wouldn't matter. The angel would just double all our dark and pop us. It's insanely hard to deal with. Even with courage, it wouldn't matter. Now this guy is very hard for Zek to kill, and most of these guys are really hard for Zek to kill because they're all super shatter resistant, but thankfully Reginald can cover for Zek, as I was mentioning earlier. Powers up. Also, one of the things I forgot to mention, spoiled meat is one of the reasons I chose Yogurt as my meat guy, or sorry, tank of choice or warrior of choice. It does allow us to boost up Zek's dark charges so that we can have his Dark Feast happen more consistently, or potentially have it be stronger than it would have been otherwise. Now we are going to remove a card here. I figure that's going to be better than going the other route, though that wouldn't be true if we could level up before the twins. I just don't think we could level up before the twins at all. We get rid of Drain Life there in Zek's deck because it's not a curse and isn't using the Infestation, which I didn't talk about Infestation earlier, but Infestation is amazing. It's the counterpart to his level 4 that would change all his damage to Frost instead and give more damage and chill and stuff like that. What it does is gives you the enchantment that every curse card you play for 6 curse cards, you get a free I don't know what it's called, Infestation or Rat card. Basically, it does shadow damage, which is great. We're doing a lot of that. It applies Dark, and it transfers one of your curses to the enemy, which is just going to be in order that you have the curses. So, like right now, it would transfer Zek's Dark to the enemy. This fight's a little bit challenging because Belfior, or Bellafor, I forget whatever this fire guy's name is. He is immune to Dark. That just happened to be his enchantment that he got. So Reginald's really the only one who can deal damage to him. Zek can do some, but as you can see, not a lot. He's very resistant to Dark to start with as well. So it's very difficult for Zek to hurt him. But Zek could hurt the front 2 guys just fine. We do pick up a Citadel. We have a Vampiric Tutor as well. And we got another Meditate on Reginald. So have some energy, have some draw. It's pretty nice. Gotta fight the twins. The twins are tough. We need to kill the light twin before he goes on the second turn. He can go turn 1 and we're fine. We can get enough HP on Yogurt and a evade on Yogurt if we needed it to survive, which we don't. But yeah, this fight was pretty difficult. I need Curse of Decay to reduce his shadow resistance as much as possible. So he's very weak to shadow, and the guy in back is very weak to holy, but they're resistant to the other. So of course, you know, our chaos versus their chaos team. Very flavorful. I'm happy about like how the flavor worked out here. It was a lot of fun. Using Yin Yang Bolt is also just, it's sort of a meme. It's not a very good card, but it is funny. It would have been better with Black Deck where we could stack up their charges to 30. Better yet, we could have gotten what's it called? Dark Omen. I never get it on a dark run, but anyways, it can make it so they can stack up to 34 dark charges on the enemy, as well as apply dark every hit, as well as gives you +2 more dark charges. I don't know, it's an amazing legendary weapon, but I don't think I can get it. I just haven't had luck getting it with Zek. Here's a really tough turn. We need to attack through the Light Guardian's damage field, but ideally we want everybody surviving, or at least our damage dealers surviving, plus yeah, we want Reginald to survive, and we need Yogurt to survive, because Yogurt needs to tank hits from the Shadow Guardian, and Reginald needs to be the one who finishes off the Shadow Guardian, because Zek isn't going to be able to do it fast enough. And we need to kill the Light Guardian, because otherwise he's going to apply Dawn's Light to our entire team, which will mean they heal up for 2% HP every time we play any card. God, it's so ridiculous that it's any card. Meaning they will effectively have far more than the 5,200 health that they currently do, and make them infinitely harder to kill. Yeah, I'm using the infinitely. It's not actually infinitely, but yeah. We get a Plague Rat. We do manage to kill the light guy in, trust me, a very convoluted series of turn card orders there. I had to predict quite a bit to actually get the kill. And then to survive this, we're looking pretty good. We're able to have Citadel on top of our deck, so I'm now confident we can survive this turn, even though we don't have a lot of health remaining on our guys. We have the block. We have the resistance on Yogurt, so he can actually take the physical damage that they deal really well. And we don't have to kill him this turn. He does have a bunch of block plus the enchantment where whenever we damage him, he hits us back. So we can cool off a turn. We'll still get an excellent if we kill him next turn, so I'm not too worried about it. Otherwise, I'd probably try to kill him through the damage field, but it's just not worth it at the moment. And he's at 1400 HP. I'm pretty confident Reginald can do that in a singular good turn. Especially with the damage thing he just picked up. Reginald's level 4 enchantment, by the way. Very, very strong. Probably makes him a good hyper carry. I am attacking him through this field anyways, but I really don't want to like screw it up and die. It's not worth it. Don't do it. Don't play anything. He'll kill Gustav. Oh yeah, I'm actually doing the math. Math on YouTube, yeah. Doing the math to see if I have enough damage to kill him. I'm unfortunately 1 energy shy of being able to kill him this turn, meaning that if I try to attack him all out, he will potentially kill, though, or he might potentially kill Gustav, just with the backfire damage. So, yeah, it was just safer to wait a turn. There was absolutely no reason I had to finish it that turn. I was just being kind of lazy. By lazy, I mean I guess I decided to do some math that I didn't need to do. But at 800 health, even if Reginald can't finish him off, I'm confident Zek can, but I'm also pretty confident Reginald will get enough holy spells to do it. It gets cut kind of close, though. Thankfully, I have the energy and am able to pull it off. We find a Titanfall here. It's decent. We have a purple one already, so I don't know if I need it. We find Book of Dimers, but we also find Necropotence. It's hard to say which one's better for Zek, but I don't know what cards I really want to vanish. Vanishing cards can be really tough in the late game, so I don't necessarily want to do it. We have Poison Catalyst, which might be a good way of getting poison up in the late game as well. I opt for Mass Dispel rather than the Sacred Ceremony. It's a really hard choice for me there because Sacred Ceremony is the heal bless card and kind of the key to this run, but I feel like I'm getting enough bless on both Reginald and Zek, so I opt for the Mass Dispel because Mass Dispel will help us sustain in the late game against the final bosses. Holy Reverberation means that every time we play a holy card, the cost of the highest holy card in our hand gets reduced by 3. That happens 2 times a turn, so we can play a lot of expensive holy cards. And then here, Absolute Darkness doesn't seem like it's going to be as good as Vampirism. Absolute Darkness also might give us too many dark charges where we might pop ourselves accidentally. And it only increases the Dark Explosion damage by 1% per charge, which again isn't bad, it is good. But we're not doing Dark Explosions too much. So Vampirism just being a 30% damage buff is pretty good. Now, this item set is decent. I really liked a lot of the items that we got here. Bonk Hammer is fun. We're not going the bleed build anyways, so Yogur's Cleaver is not necessary anymore. Bonk Hammer slows and weakens enemies, so it's a nice way to do that at the start of Yogur's turn. Hits a random enemy, but it's still pretty good. Monoloop means that someone could basically have infinite energy. Most of our decks are cheap enough to do that, especially any of our refund energy guys, but I can't give it to Reginald if I want him to keep blessing as efficiently as he has, because he has Topaz Ring, so that's not really an option. Pandora's Box seems fun though, and Ninja Scroll isn't really necessary. We already have some evasions, and maybe we could even get a, a mass evasion for the entire team. If not finding it in the last 2 fights, we could find it in a music sheet. Terror Ring's a fun pickup too, but we're not really going for, We're not going for the insanity on anybody. So I pick up Monoloop on the Frog. It does give up a bit of his speed, which is a little dangerous for the final fight, but I kind of wanted him to be slow anyways, so I'm hoping to find a slow armor that makes the Frog a lot tankier, because he still has Slippers. Slippers of all things. He's so flimsy. Like, he dies if someone sneezes on him. His resistances haven't been like modified at all. He's just got base stats. He like starts at 0% resistances for some stuff. It's terrible. Yeah, sorry, let's stop going off on that. That was one thing I feel like we're lacking a little bit, is just better armors. I do want to take out the Psychic here, because he can apply an enchantment to himself where he will silence anybody who damages him for 2 turns, which again, very bad for my entire team. So that's why I'm focusing the Psychic. The Angel isn't too much of a problem on its own, because it shouldn't get to enough dark stacks to pop most of us by itself. The 2 guys in front don't apply much dark if any. I think the one sword guy applies 5 dark to one person. And yeah, the angel wasn't really able to do anything. I let Gustav die here because I just didn't really have a choice. And I'm going to be able to remove a card in the very next area. Or I guess right after this fight. We're going to remove a lot of cards, so it wasn't a big deal. And I'm not doing much with the money anyways, other than potentially getting a shop by doing a challenge, but also potentially not. So we do have the option to pick up another Sacred Ceremony here. I think about it, but I don't really think it's going to be good because I don't have enough shards to upgrade it. I'm at 389. I won't have enough to do it at the next altar, which is coming up soon. Never mind, I do pick up the Sacred Ceremony. I shouldn't pick up the Sacred Ceremony. I'm not going to be able to upgrade it, and it's going to be too expensive. I think I actually get rid of it before the end at the final campfire, but that was silly. So here we just want to get rid of all the cards that haven't been doing too much for us. Yin Yang Bolt I could probably get rid of, but all my holy cards aren't too bad. Interesting. Yeah, I get rid of the Holy Smite because I'm getting up to like 50 Bless on turn 2 anyways with Reginald, and that 4 more Bless isn't going to do too much. It only affects him. Get a lot of HP on everybody. 15 more HP on all heroes will help us survive a bit more. The altar, whether I want to get a discount or not, is hard to say. I fail and the price increases by 10%, but at least I don't get a curse in everybody's deck, so just want to make sure I'm changing my curses to be the right ones here. Curse of Exhaustions to lower their speed, or get rid of all the fast charges on the clones. Keeping Blood Rage in the deck. I did 1 or 2 other things there. Didn't quite catch it, but I'm sure they were useful. Sacred Ceremony, I like immediately ditch, because I know I'm not going to be able to use it. I also couldn't use Energizing Serenade right there, because I was only on, what's it called? Stanza 2. There's nothing that gets you Stanza 3 immediately in a fight, unfortunately. As fun as that would be. That'd be a really cool update if there was like some sort of cool item that like let you progress a stanza or something. I don't know. That way you could have it on turn 1. It'd be like the ultimate, like play the best cards immediately turn. But yeah. We do find some last stands in Yogur, so I know I'll be able to tank relatively effectively. If I wanted to play both last stands, we can find our Citadel. But I don't opt for that, which is maybe a mistake, but I kind of thought maybe we could kill faster with the shout there. The cheaper cards in Reginald's deck is helping a lot. We are able to play basically all our cards every turn, thanks to both the heal cost refund and the reverberation reduction. So yeah, Radiant Assault is a good like repeat or deal damage 5 times, deal like over 100 damage each time. Fairly solid. We're doing a lot of good damage. I do want to heal up before the end of this fight though, so I make sure that we're gonna stay in the fight for a little bit longer. Something nice about Wolfie is with all the Sanctify on the enemies, we're able to heal up just like anytime Gustav gets a turn to go. Now, we also were able to speed up everybody there and get a Mass Stealth off. Mass Stealth didn't matter, and as you can see, Gustav just can't run out of energy. Like, I could put more and more expensive cards in his deck and he still wouldn't run out. And he's able to slow down the enemies by 4. That purple, what's it called, has been really good. I don't know. I forget exactly what it's called. I also found another Holy Purple Ripple, which is kind of funny. Holy Purple Ripple. No. Purple Holy Ripple. Battle Plan is going to be very nice for potentially setting up Citadel on top of our deck when we need it. I pick up Weapons Cache on Gustav because it's just going to be free basically all the time, free damage, and I do want to have more ways to apply poison to hopefully make Noxious Fumes a bit better at scaling. Sacred Ceremony I'm going to get rid of there, and then I don't really know what I want to get rid of in Gustav's or in Zek's deck or Gustav's deck, so I keep everything. Hanshek was a really tough fight. He's very resistant to shadow damage, and his clones are even more resistant to the shadow damage. So we really have to rely on Reginald taking all of them out. And unfortunately for this fight, Reginald's Divine Intervention, the card that, or the enchantment that he has that lets him deal damage to all enemies and apply Sanctify to all of them anytime he plays a holy card for 4 turns, or sorry, for 4 holy cards. That's on the very bottom of his deck. So here we do get the Citadel. We can put it back on top. The battle plan worked out just as I hoped. That was a hard chain to find, getting Citadel right away, but it's very, very worth it. The Last Hope is giving us some fun, interesting cards to play with as well. Not the most impactful, but they're decent. Oh, never mind. Holy Crusade was not on the bottom. I don't know. There was a fight where Holy Crusade was on the bottom. I think it was the Shadow fight, actually. That's what it was, yeah. The one that I spent like 2 hours on earlier. So, never mind. I'm a complete liar. He's going to have easier time taking out all the clones. Yeah. So we have Battle of Conquest. We can play straight away. It's going to do give our entire team powerful, blessed, and sharp. And then we can also scavenge it back out if we so wish. And there's an argument to potentially go entirely stealth here and just not have Yoga play anything. That way no chain cards or jump cards could hit us. But I do opt to play for some of the cards because I'm hoping to draw into another slow. Because if I can draw one more slow, I can at least have Reginald go first. And if he can kill some of the clones, then maybe the final boss gets to keep some of the debuffs we put on him. It works so hard for. We do have 10 energy on Reginald now. Thankfully, our energy problems are kind of a thing of the past due to the gourmet meats that Yoga just consistently gets now. So, yeah, the AoE damage is pretty good. We're not quite up to 50 plus, but we're just about there. We will be with the next Holy we play. I don't need to Radiant Assault the front guy because my AoE would kill him. So I think I'm gonna retry that in just a second. Yeah. Here I'm doing a thing where I saved basically on Reginald's turn. I backed up my save there, and I just go straight to the start of his turn again because I realized I could have played that a bit better. Sorry for that. But yeah, I unfortunately wasn't able to kill the second clone, though he did die when he tried to heal up everybody, so that's something. And we should be able to finish off clone number 2 this turn, I think. Yeah. As you can see, the decay has been really clutch for reducing the resistances enough that Zek can actually deal some damage to them. Otherwise he'd be doing like basically nothing. He'd be doing like 5. Because that's just the way the stacks of resistances work. And even then, it's so close. Like, I had to put everything into killing him. Hanshek, I'm going to wait to spend my energy on Zek, because although Gustav and Reginald are pretty fine since they refund energy, I still have, like, some energy needs for Zek. Mainly because he just draws through his entire deck so fast and is able to play so many cards. Like, he's playing more cards than probably anybody else. And then I'm not able to give energy to, Yoga too often. Thankfully, he doesn't really need it that often, so it kind of works out both ways for us. Here, it's a really tough decision whether I need to play like a massive spell. I just laid down another backup save there as well, just because I know that I felt like I was in a pretty good spot for this turn. And this fight was taking me some time. I had already reattempted it like, I want to say 4 or 5 times. So laying down the backup saves just in case I need to do it again. Though I'm hoping I can play it correctly. First time's the charm, because like I said, this run was taking me a while. It was a bit hard for me to get. And unfortunately, I'm not able to keep a lot of dark stacks on Zek. One of the problems with this is like, enemies apply a lot of dark, so I do need to dispel it from time to time, and 2, I needed to run dispel to keep my entire team alive because I set up more of a grindy team, which now I think about it is just not the way you want to have it, I think. Yeah, so could be better with an OTK team for the sharp Zek, but I enjoyed putting together this Chaos team. And it was a lot of fun puzzle fights to figure out how to win. Like, I know I complain about it slightly, but it really was a good time. Yeah, so there's just an option between playing Titanfall to get him up to max vulnerable charges or playing Entrench here to make sure I survive the next turn. It definitely ends up being better for me to survive the next turn. That's why I even play the Last Stand to get Energize, or to get Barricade, which is just a bit more block, but that bit more block can make a big difference. We have a lot of vitality on everyone too. That's part of why I've been buffing up Gustav with the premium meats. Losing all our pets is also kind of rough. It means we're not getting that reliable source of vulnerability. We're not getting a reliable source of slow. Though we do have Bonk Hammer, which is kind of a reliable source of slow, because it's 4 slow in fact, so yeah. And Reginald's dealing a good amount of damage. I didn't play Mass Dispel there because I didn't want to get rid of Zek's Dark, because I wanted to be able to play all his cards here, or as many as possible. This is going to be a big turn for him. I don't pour energy into that Recurring Nightmare because I didn't have enough energy this turn. Here he is really mean. He slows us all down and he gets rid of our Energize, and he gets 1 Inspire negative. It's just cruel. But we're able to survive it, and that's most of what we need. We can survive the second turn thanks to Gustav's healing and a little bit more Dispel. So yeah, that was all I really needed to do, was survive that round, and now I'm confident that I can kill him with both Zek and Reginald, though Reginald had a really not damaging turn, largely due to the lack of Inspire that thanks to this boss. But even if I don't kill him this turn, I can kill him turn 6, because he's going slower than everybody now. It's also thanks to all the frost charges we had. I guess I wasn't able to kill him. But no deaths, we get to go to the final boss without any death stores. This final boss is hard. This fight's just hard in general, but the 2 big turns I have to worry about, well, one, in his first round, he's going to summon the clone, and I want to make sure my entire team goes slower than him so that we can kill the clone, or at least make sure that it's not sped up, and we can have somebody slow it down on the second turn so we can kill it before it goes, because killing it before it goes will net us a lot of room there, because he will get rid of Energize and Inspire and make everybody draw. Yeah, so he makes everybody draw 1 less card, slows them all down, and gets rid of Energize, meaning that the final boss will immediately progress to his second phase, making him resistant to Dark, though in his first phase he was resistant to Holy, so every time, or there's basically no turn where he's easy for both of our carries to hit. He's resistant to both of them on different turns. So a lot of this fight is managing the Inspire on the right heroes at the right time. Soul Harvest is pretty good. I do have to use that Vampiric Tutor just to pick up the Curse of Exhaustion to get rid of the fast charge on the clone, making Gustav just barely faster than the clone. And I'm hoping Gustav can then speed up the entire team with a Scavenge or something. Or at least draw his slow as AoE 4 slow, so that Yogur could then go before the clone goes, and hopefully make it so that Reginald can go before the clone goes and we kill the clone. So like I said, letting the clone go is going to be really challenging. But I am able to Scavenge and pick up Song of Celerity, so now everybody gets to go and we get to kill the clone first turn. That was a bit of a tough thing to work out. I did have to try this fight a couple of times as well. But yeah, I did manage to find the line where I could, I don't know, man. My card luck of the cards I got was really good. My card ordering was really bad on a few fights. I mean, that's usually a sign of a team being somewhat weak, and also probably taking a few too many cards in the deck, which I definitely could admit to. Usually as a product of you trying to do too much, too fast. But yeah, we're able to kill the clone there. Probably could have left him alive for Zek to kill instead, so I could have focused a little bit less damage on him, but I was doing I don't know, 6 damage to the guy, to the Archon anyways with Reginald, even though he's up to 100 Sanctify. He also gets rid of all his Sanctify every turn because he turns it into Dark Charges. It does pop him for some Dark Explosion damage, which might have been nice now that I think about it with Zek's other passive, but it's okay. It's unnecessary. I do wonder how that fight... yeah, there's a lot of ways you potentially change the run just slightly to make this a bit easier. But this is the way that I chose, and I'm living with it. So yeah, the main turns we have to watch out for is one, that dark turn. It's not too bad the first time because we don't have a ton of Sanctify charges on us just yet. But it gets really bad later because he changes all your Sanctify into dark. So if you have something like 50 Sanctify, you can just say goodbye to your hero. They will die unless they are extremely tanky and resistant to dark, which we do have regeneration giving us dark resistance, but he likes to make all regeneration turn into poison for some reason before he does the dark explosion pop, which is just incredibly cruel. Can I point that out? There's like a really good perk optimal for fighting this guy in the end, and if you take it, you just get punished for trying to build a regen team to resist the dark damage. I don't know. I'm not a fan. We were able to stealth there to avoid a lot of the damage. On that turn, it's really devastating to have a... He has a card that jumps and deals damage based on the amount of vanished cards you have. So the longer this fight goes on, the more meats we're playing, the more sads we're playing. So we have more vanished cards than most teams, thanks to Ylmer. And we already get a bunch of vanished cards thanks to his kit, applying sads and the Doom card that we have to play every so often. So, yeah. Here, I also make a mistake, and I have Zek dying, which is just silly. I forgot to manage his Doom counter correctly, and I didn't have enough to play it, so... Yeah, I tried this fight quite a few times, and I unfortunately just didn't really have a good way to deal with him. So this is going to be my first ever, I guess, defeat that I'm going to be uploading. I'm not going to say this fight's impossible even with the current kit. I actually do think there's some wiggle room here where we could change card orderings and figure out a bunch of different ways to fight him, like I did with a few of the other fights that I got past, like the Twins and Hanshek, and that one Shadow team that was harder than both the Twins and Hanshek. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to run out of steam here with Reginald, and he's able to survive pretty well thanks to the Bless charges. Thankfully, his boss doesn't like get rid of all Bless, which would be super mean. The Bless is increasing our Holy Resistance, so that's why we aren't dying on that turn. But yeah, Phantom Echoes, that's the card that kills you. Does damage, dark damage and mind damage, and applies as much Dark and Insanity as you have Vanish cards, which we were just getting a ton of. So yeah, here's the endgame stats of an unfortunate loss. Had a really tough final fight there. Like I said, it probably is doable if I changed up a few things here and there in the run. I think you could definitely make it. Yeah, that was tough. So thanks everybody for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you are uninterested in seeing losses. Here's another valiant attempt by me at the very end. I'll just let this play in the background as I recommend new videos on screen for the first time ever. I really hope you can check out my Slay the Spire series if you enjoy this deck building content. If not, it's totally fine. Don't worry about it. And have a great day.